Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to another RPG News Roundup, this time for August 31st, 2024, where each week I take a look back at the week in tabletop, computer, and console role-playing game news and bring you the highlights. As always, we will start with computer and console role-playing game news. It looks like Caribbean Legend is getting a new DLC on September 11th. Black Mark Pack will include a new quest, a new officer, some new armor, 3 new weapons, a new ward, and a new ship. Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince is hitting PC and mobile platforms on September 11th as well. It'll include all of the content from the Nintendo Switch Digital Deluxe Edition, which has been out since earlier this year. It is a Dragon Quest Monsters game where you take on the role of Sorrow from Dragon Quest IV. Metro Quester Osaka is going to hit the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, and the Switch on September 13th. It is a port of Quester Osaka from the PC follow-up to the original Questor. It is a dungeon crawler in the style of the 1980s dungeon crawlers and has some input from some people from some decent RPGs. Toho Genso Wanderer Foresight is getting a console release on September 18th. It'll hit the PlayStation and Switch platforms. It has been available on the PC since earlier this year. It is a fan project based on the Toho project Shoot 'em Ups, except in dungeon crawler/mystery dungeon style. Eternites is set for release on the Switch on October 17th. It has been available on PC, PS4, and PS5 since last year. It is a sort of RPG dating game hybrid set during a event where a virus has turned humans into monsters. Fairy Tail 2 has had its release date announced. It will hit the PC on December 11th, with the PS4 and PS5 and Switch getting a version on December 13th of this year. It is a sequel to the 2020 action RPG based on the manga. Tales of Grace's F Remastered is hitting on January 17th of next year. It'll be a remaster of an action RPG and target the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, as well as the Switch. It's actually a remaster of a Wii-era RPG. Tales of Iron 2 looks like it's going to be delayed until February of next year. It'll target the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, as well as the Switch. Atelier Yuma, The Alchemist of Memories, and the Envisioned Land is set for a release early next year. It'll target the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, as well as the Switch. A new entry into the long-running Atelier series, it'll focus on themes of memory. I never got into that series. I should try and play some sometime. I should play some JRPGs in general. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster is set for March 6th of 2025. It'll target the PC, the PS4, and the 5, as well as the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X/S and the Switch. It'll be their remastered versions of the first 2 PlayStation-era entries into the series. Sea of Stars is getting a free DLC, Throes of the Watchmaker. It'll be set for spring of next year. It'll include new playable classes, a new playable character, new areas, dungeons, enemies, bosses, and so forth, and it'll have local co-op mode. Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma was announced. It'll be targeted for the spring of next year and look to be released on the PC and the Nintendo Switch. Yet another entry into the fantasy action RPG and life sim Rune Factory series. It'll have a physical edition as well, at least for the Switch. Moth Cubit is also slated for spring of next year, targeting the PC and the Switch. It has you playing an insect that has been promoted within a megacorporation, or some sort of final process is coming onward. A remake of The Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky has been announced. It'll target the Switch sometime next year, and they are considering releases for the PC and PlayStation. A Western release is definitely planned as well. The first Berserker, Kazan, is set for release in 2025. It'll be a hardcore action RPG and look to hit the PS5, the Xbox Series X/S, as well as the PC. As far as actual releases go, Visions of Mana saw its release. It is a party-based JRPG, latest in the Mana action RPG series. I've played one of those. I've played Trials of Mana. I've heard good things about the entire series. I really should buckle down and play them. Anyway, it looks to carry on that series' tradition of seeking out the mana tree, and it's got the same general colorful art style as the prior entries. War Tales has a DLC out called The Pits. It expands that turn-based strategy RPG with a collection of black markets and secret battles. From what I understand, the DLC is not as good as the main game from people who like the main game. It's one of those issues where they went a different direction and people are not sure about it. Peglin saw its release. It is a is a full release. It is a pachinko-based roguelike that has been in early access for some time now. Aside from the PC, it has always also been released on the Nintendo Switch. Rum and Gun is a action RPG hack and slash game themed around pirates, except it takes you to the Indian Ocean rather than the Caribbean, which is a good change of pace. Fairy Tale Dungeons is a deck building roguelike with characters from the Fairy Tale series. You create your own deck and head off to face off against various monsters in a dungeon. Gundam Breaker 4 is a hack and slash robot based RPG where you build your own Gundam with customizable parts and face off against others in battle. Megaloot is an inventory management based roguelike. You build your character based on various cards and loot that you find. Finally, there is The Journey to the Rift, an action RPG with a heavy text component and base building elements. Onwards towards tabletop RPG news, it looks like several things have, been either announced or just generally come to light on Wizards of the Coast's lineup. Of course, that is pretty par for the course since they're coming out with since the D&D 2024 rules are hidden. They are doing a starter set for the 2024 rules called Heroes on the Borderlands. It looks like it will provide a reimagining of the Keep on the Borderlands and the Caves of Chaos from the classic D&D. I'm curious to see how they'll handle it. Not curious enough to buy it, but curious to see how they'll handle it. There'll also be an anthology of dragon-themed adventures, notably 10 of them in another adventure compilation to be released sometime next year. They've been doing decent with those. Let's see how that comes out. More information was given about the upcoming Project Sigil, the virtual tabletop for the new edition. It looks like they're trying to make it open with the ability to use both 2D and 3D tokens and include both pre-bought assets as well as the ability to design digital miniatures, share various content, and play other games besides D&D with it, which is going to be curious. It looks like they're going to be using a lot of assets that they've shown off, at least so far, based either directly or exported directly from Baldur's Gate 3. If they manage to pull off half the things they say, I will be impressed. I've only got two things that give me pause. Number one is their track record, and I'm not just talking about the past few years, because if those of you who remember 4th edition may remember promises about a virtual tabletop back then, at least one's actually been developed this time, which is a step forward. And the other thing that I'm looking at is that they're saying you can play multiple systems with it, and they will be trying to sell digital miniatures, but getting decent miniatures, decent terrain and such for such a vast variety of genres is going to be interesting, even if you're allowing third-party content, because it's going to take quite a bit to build up. They did also announce, speaking of third-party content, they did announce a number of third-party content creator partners that will be working with the D&D Beyond marketplace. This includes a number of publishers that you may have heard of, including Ghostfire Gaming, MCDM, Dungeon Dudes, Kobold Press, Free League, among others. It looks like they'll be tapping in rather heavily to the third-party content going forward, and one like Free League is going to be putting their the 5th edition version of their Lord of the Rings stuff up, so that'll be neat. All right, moving away from Wizards of the Coast, it looks like Traveller RPG's succession plans have been made public. There were apparently some deals in the background about Mark Miller, the one who designed it, passing the Traveller and system onto Mongoose, likely due to advancing age, since the system is nearing the 50-year mark, and I can't imagine, people don't get younger, so they had been intending to go public after the 50th anniversary, which I think is in 2027, so only a couple of years away, but it's pretty hard to keep something like that secret for that long when you have to deal with various licensees and so forth. It does look like the Traveller system will be going to a good home with people that actually care about it. Mongoose is one of the, a company, may not agree with everything they do, but they believe in their product, and they like their consumers, which is more I can say about a number of companies. Now that this information is public, it looks like some additions that have not been added to the fair use policy before will now be added. It was avoided in the past in order to prevent giving away these plans. It looks like Dungeon World has been purchased by Luke Crane, designer of Burning Wheel and Mouse Guard. It will be getting a second edition with the intent to clean it up and re-edit the original work into a more streamlined, modern format. We'll see how that goes. I know some people have mixed opinions on Dungeon World, and that has only been made worse due to one of the initial designers of it. I have no investment either way on Dungeon World. If you like it, hey, go look forward to that second edition. Anyway, that was a lot of general news this week. Let's go onward towards minor and PDF releases. We'll start with Playing with Class Time Weaver for Pathfinder 1st Edition. It'll introduce a new class with 3 unique paths, dealing with some spellcasting that manipulates the flow of time. Citadel of the Unseen Sun, Episode 4, Land of Despair, will be the 4th of 6 entries into a series of 5th edition adventures, which I've been covering, and they've released it over the last few weeks, so it's coming towards an end. 2 left. Gelfasil's Tales has a series of 5th edition adventures out. Every week they put several out. There's Into the Frost, Dark Whispers, Icebound, Icy Pursuit, and Dark Alley Merchants. Adventures Await Studios released a ton of 5th edition adventures this week. I was going to list them in rapid fire manner, but it just got ridiculous. I think it was going to be like half of this script, so I'll just list a link to their publisher page below if you're interested. I will make a note that I do cover people like Gelfasil's Tales just covered that produce several adventures a week. Just from a marketing and moving standpoint, I know I may not be one to talk, but I used to be in marketing and sales. I will mention that this may have been a mistake, since it's actually generally better to do a slow release of adventures over time in order to keep interest up rather than releasing them all at once. Because you put them all at once, somebody's going to say, oh, they'll buy like 4 or 5 if that, and then they may not touch them again for a while. And then over time, you'll see the curve of your sales move downward. But if you put them out, people will not be flooded by choice. If they're interested, they'll buy 2 or 3, and then you can keep reminding them every week, every month, or whatever as you release more out, like Gelfasil's Tales does, like a couple other people do. Anyway, moving onward, Grim Press has Unearthed Spoils, Volume 24, a 5th edition compatible supplement that will include various material based on the upper planes, including new paladins of various fighter weapons, new backgrounds, some spells, and a 10th level adventure. Dark Wizard Games has a bunch of adventures in their Maximum Mayhem Dungeons line, released many of them in both 5th edition and 1st edition formats. There's Slime Pits of the Sewer Witch, Legend of the 7 Golden Dragons. They also have some entries in a new Warriors of the Wasteland series of adventures, more themed towards modern fantasy. There's Mutants in the Moonlight Bolorama, Battle Arena of Mr. Millennium, and Cult of Clucky the Chicken. Sneak Attack Press has This and That, Flute and Drum, a mini-book with material on the musical instruments, including real-world history, how to deal with them in a fantasy setting, and some various material to support them that's available in 5th edition Pathfinder 2nd edition and Savage Worlds versions. Gorstra's Laboratory is a 5th edition adventure where a natural storm, or an unnatural storm, provides cover for orcs to abduct their victims. Relics and Realms, Issue 6, Dakir, is a 5th edition adventure dealing with a desert-themed region. This Solasta Campaign Rulebook Revised Edition is a 5th edition compatible setting based on Solasta Crown of the Magister computer game. It includes various things such as histories, guide to realms, rules for the playable species and subclasses, as well as a bestiary of foes. Great computer game, by the way. Order and Guild Part 5 is a 5th edition offering detailing 3 organization types, social organizations, temples, and tribes, each with various detailed entries for each one, so there's like several in each of those categories. High Stakes is a heist-based adventure for 5th edition featuring an airship. High Stakes. Anyway, Plug and Play Dungeons Volume 1 is a collection of dungeons with seeds, descriptions, information, and so forth, suited for 5th edition where necessary, but also compatible with Pathfinder and other RPGs since it's stat light. Complete Town has 2 entries, each detailing a town ready to plug into a fantasy medieval world for play. There is Backerton and Buccaneer's Back Alley. Malakar's Guide to Magical Masks is a compendium and set of adventure prompts, all revolving around a magical masks and a magical storefront that sells them for 5th edition. Gives me some real Zelda vibes that way. Anyway, Amara's Treasures of the Deep, the Bay of Promises, is a 5th edition action exploration one-shot dealing with a tropical land of lush jungles. Amazon's Versus Valkyries has a couple of offerings for 5th edition. There is Monk Traditions that offers a set of historically inspired monk traditions, and then the Taurian player species for people who like minotaurs and such. Esper the Bard has Monstrous Heroes, a 5th edition collection of monster classes with a trait, class, features, and lore. Codex Bestiarum, a Nimrod's Guide to the Efficient Monster Slayer, is a 5th edition collection of more than 150 unique monsters along with included sets of notes from an in-character perspective. Kobold Press has a Regalia of Guildstrom, suited for Tales of the Valiant, which is an adventure for 4th level characters. The Caves of Refuge, The Mines of Misery is a dungeon crawl classics RPG adventure featuring caves and a mountain where residents of a nearby town come to hide in times of danger, forgetting the past of those caves. Secret of Southwick is a Shadow Dark adventure with horror themes, sort of an Innsmouth style setup. The Morbid Mausoleum of Michael Mashaeus is a Shadow Dark RPG adventure dealing with a mausoleum where local teenagers have dared each other to spend a night near. Essential Enemies 9, Not of This Earth, is a set of old school essentials monsters and suited for also similar OSR systems, with a theme of monsters from outer planes and planets. Northwind Adventures has a set of adventures for Hyperborea. There is The Thousand Eyes of Thaumagoria, The Vanishing Isles of the Summer King, and The Ablation Slab of the Hepatomancer. Mad Scribe Magazine, Issue 7, is another entry into a magazine series that offers various material for OSR-style games. Creature Feature Quarterly, Volume 13, for Old School Essentials and Lamentations of the Flame Princess, offers a collection of 16 new monsters with paper minis, virtual tabletop tokens, lore, and so forth. There's a few offerings for 2d6 Dungeon. The Layers Omnibus includes 5 layers from previous 2d6 publications. Then Layers Expansion for Volume 2 deals with an ancient mine shaft and some basins formed by an earthquake many centuries ago. Weird Ancestries is a set of character options for the Shadow of the Weird Wizard. It includes 30 different playable ancestries. Troll Godfather Press has Humans, a supplement to Monsters that lets you play and equip human characters and human-derived characters. Stella Gamma has the Sword of Cepheus 2nd Edition, a new revised version of their sword and sorcery-based RPG, which I reviewed the original version of quite a while back. They've also got a version of Escape from Micklegard for the Sword of Cepheus engine, which I reviewed the OSR version of that a while back. And I have a review of a Nomad coming up, although it'll probably be a couple weeks before it comes up. So hopefully I'll be able to review a bunch of stuff at some point. Reap is a solo tabletop RPG where you play a wandering necromancer. It looks like it is a narrative exploration-based RPG with tactical combat. Senshi is an RPG set in feudal Japan during the Warring States period. Bridgemire Bay is an expansion for the industrial fantasy of Bridgemire RPG. It includes various ports, towns, and includes new classes, various adventure seeds, and random encounter ideas, numerous tables, and so on. Terminus Adventures in the Eversprawl is a horror setting for the Face Ripopedia and the epic fantasy RPG based on it. Diplomacy and Conflict from Onyx Path is a Trinity Continuum Aeon offering that offers advice on how to use psionics to benefit either diplomacy or war. Metro Otherscape is a core rulebook for the Mythic Cyberpunk RPG set in a futuristic megacity. You play various hired guns or survivors in a world of large corporations, collapsing government, and crime syndicates. They also have Tokyo Otherscape, a setting book for Japan. These all use the City of the Mist engine, or City of Mist engine. Mongoose has war fleets of the Fifth Frontier for Traveler, with warships from both sides of the conflict detailed within. A bunch of people had material for the Mothership RPG this week. There's Carthian Manhunter, detailing one monster, his background, and his lair. Fire Sale is a loot frenzy height for the Mothership RPG. When in Rome is an adventure module for Mothership inspired by Alien Romulus. Burning Light Press has Mayday files for Mothership, which is a bestiary filled with new creatures. They also have Research Station Sorrento, a one-shot module, and the Grand Nautilus, another one-shot module. Finally, there is Intergalactic Core Rulebook, a revised format 2D10 sci-fi based system offering various innovations on the Galactic system. With that, we'll move on to crowdfunding campaigns. Remember that contributing to a crowdfunding campaign should be done only at your own risk. Doing so is no guarantee of even receiving a product. Mentioned here is not an endorsement, but it is for informational purposes only. And a few computer and console role-playing game campaigns caught my eye this week. And there is Sentai, a virtual pet and avatar RPG that looks like it'll be a browser-based virtual world. Fallen Tier, The Ascension, looks like it's going to be a high fantasy JRPG and Metroidvania 2D platformer set in a fading world ruined by corrupted gods. Onwards towards tabletop RPG campaigns, there's Project Kerberos, looking to be a 5th edition collection of new classes, spells, creatures in a high fantasy setting with cyberpunk elements. Adventures of Tisharia, Volume 2, will be a collection of 5th edition adventures on the continent of Tisharia. Classic Beginnings looks to be a collection of new one-shots for players of 5th edition. Looks like there's 3 of them, meant to be easily put in. You put a new party in with possibly new players and get them directly into the game. 5th edition horror RPG double feature will be 2 RPG zines for 5th edition, one containing a set of circus-themed creatures, another a one-shot campaign inspired by Night of the Living Dead, titled Night of the Living Dead. Giant's Rage will be a 5th edition campaign set in the realms of Shadowmarch, where the peak giants' way of life has been threatened and the heroes must unite with the giants to defend their home. Interrupted Internment will be a 5th edition adventure where you play an undead character trying to find out who they were before death while saving their town from invasion. The Price of Apocrypha will be a first level adventure with the ability to run it for 5th edition, but with enough leeway to also run it for older editions as well. Divine Might, Domain Spells, Archetypes, and More will be a collection of encyclopedias for clerics for 5th edition as well as a Pathfinder RPG. Treasures from the Astral Forge will be a 5th edition collection of magic items with story hooks, secrets, and lore, all featuring items created by an archfey within the Astral Sea. Armor Smith's Handbook will be a collection of 20 merchants, 200 magic items, and more revolving around ready-to-play armor shops. Barbarians of Lemuria, New Mythic Plus Edition, will be another edition of the Sword and Sorcery role-playing game with a post-apocalyptic world sent back to an almost prehistoric state. Warlock Knight will be a programmed solo adventure for Dungeon and Fantasy for GURPS, suited for 1 to 3 characters. Terminal State will be a Year Zero engine near-future dystopia RPG set in a cyberpunk future inspired by the goings-on of today. Because let's face it, the classic cyberpunk dystopia stylings, they're the now. So, I mean, I got old while I wasn't looking, and now the cyberpunk is what we live in. So we got to come up with a new near future. Anyway, there is Undoing Ruin, a tabletop RPG where humanity's last hope against an AI uprising lies with the various androids. And with that, I'm going to wrap things up here. This has been the RPG Crawler with my RPG News Roundup for August 31st, 2024. As always, links will be below. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment, guide feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. Let me know below if you want to see me do some videos on maybe some adventure or RPG design and publication. I haven't put out an RPG myself, so it would spur me to do so. I have written books and put them up. I have had a background in marketing, and I've done that. So let me know if you'd like to see how a complete newbie, well, I say complete newbie because I haven't done it, designs some sort of supplement, puts it up, and puts it out, and we'll see how that goes. Of course, if you'd rather me spend my time on other things, let me know that too. Until next time, take care and goodbye. And if you are still watching, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my supporters, the top tiers of which are listed on the screen, without whose support I would not have been able to offer the variety of content that I have on this channel throughout the years. If you're feeling particularly generous and would like to join them, you can support the channel. There are a variety of options to do so. I have a Patreon, a Subscribestar, as well as channel memberships enabled. If you are not in a position to contribute, simply leaving a like, a comment, or sharing my videos are all wonderful ways to help the channel grow without spending a dime, and are all greatly appreciated.